No, I'm not going to give you the narrative treatment anymore. I mean, that was the setup. Was it racist? Yes. Did it appear to be highly anti-Semitic? Yes, it did. It really actually did. But more than that, the problem with it really seemed to be after I got into the room with the lawyer and they gave me a form before I got in there that had the information for the organization on there, but it didn't list the law firm and it didn't list the name of the attorney. And it basically said that they could do whatever they wanted with whatever happened on site, and they exonerated from all accountability and all liability. And there was nothing in there about attorney-client privilege, and there was nothing in there about the fact that it was specifically supposed to be a pro bono legal consultation around small business development. And my understanding is so you're going to take whatever I do here on site as part of a so called pro bono legal consultation with an attorney at what's supposed to be a reputable law firm concerning business matters. And you're going to create derivatives with it. And so I went in there, and my thing was, does this lawyer agree? Would an actual professional in the legal community that was intending to work within the bounds of the Constitution. See, here's the thing about attorneys. Attorneys, and this is part of the argument that I don't understand why anybody hasn't made. The judicial branch of government is the third branch of government. You have to get your authority from the Constitution. You must adhere to the Constitution. Your little secret society, the little secret society stuff, where it's like, well, we're attorneys, and so we have to represent our clients. I mean, you have to adhere to the Constitution. And if you're abusing whatever other things you want to misrepresent are the entitlements of attorneys in order to violate the Constitution, which, as far as I'm concerned and understand, also includes stealing the intangible property of people that are your other people who are your clients in order to sell it under some form of legal service or kickback scheme you have with judges for another client, that's not constitutional. So what are you doing? Because you're not an attorney. You're not a representative of the American legal system. What are you? But beyond that, this attorney said, well, I haven't read the agreement. I don't know what it says. And at that point, I was like, you are obviously trying to either set me up or you're trying, actually, there was no alternative. You're trying to set me up. And the question is it me specifically, or do you do this for everybody who has a small business idea? Do they just literally use this front that's supposed to be a city program to assist with small business in order to extract business ideas from people and then screw them with some bullshit illegal waive-off clause or waiver clause and then give it to these high-priced lawyers who do what with it? Well, this is apparently what they do with it. The director of the Houston Office of Business Opportunity has the same last name as a medical supply company. This company makes devices that are joint replacements, primarily. This is what I've noticed. They also make other kinds of devices that one that has a particular kind of injury would need, like a boot. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know what they call them, but the derivative they use it for is a boot loan, right? And so, the way it kind of seems to have worked is that they had, she was the director of Hobo, and then Baker Botts sponsored a big deal that they wanted to get in on. And she already had a relationship with Baker Ripley at a time when Hobo had a program with Baker Ripley around space. And so she comes in right as they're talking about corner store infrastructure and goes to speak with an attorney at a law firm that deals with major energy and infrastructure deals around the world, including in Iraq. and also represents big, big, big time players in private equity, right? Hobo. And the whole thing about Hobo since I've been there is they kept trying to take the H off so it didn't look like they were trafficking homeless people. So then I'm supposed to sign this agreement to waive liability. I don't do that. I say something about securities fraud. They get it on tape because it was teleconference. I even asked him, "Are you recording this?" He's like, "No, it's Skype." Well, the thing is, everything on Skype is recorded. You can say whether or not you want to keep the recording, but everything on Skype is recorded. So then, there's the whole thing with the metal detector. I don't know. Am I hacking the tech for the metal detector because I asked a question, or are they hacking me? I don't know. I mean, who wants to deal with that, right? And then there's that meeting with the Department of Public Health concerning revolving loans, which I now understand are very much a part of the Texas Veterans Code, by the way. Really? Yeah. The state of Texas has a very special relationship with its veterans when it comes to revolving loans. And then, working on the corner store infrastructure. But the things get interesting the next year when there's a case that's put before the Supreme Court of the United States, and somebody who used to be an attorney or a very important in a very important role with the Department of Justice writes the opinion and posits case law within a case regarding food access, or rather the technological system around what happens when you work with a federal program in order to give people access to basic human resources. And within his case, he cites no less than 4 cases that have to do with major weapons companies, all of whom that have product lines named after Native American tribes. And that brings up my concern, which has to do with what do you really mean by food safety? Because at least in Illinois, if you have to fill out a food stamps application, one of the things they ask you for is, have you made any money in royalties from the sale of any tribal artifacts? And as soon as I saw that, I said, wait a second, is this an effort to try to get someone to place a metric that can be used in a hedging strategy for them? Because the rest of the application in Illinois and in Texas both say that you give the food stamp program and whoever's accessing the food stamps program access to any other information that they could access in any database provided by the federal government or provided by any entity that's connected to the food stamps program. You know what that includes? Let me see, am I there yet? Wait. Okay, tribal. Medicare. And so that brings up the whole concern about those Russians and those Ukrainians from 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, but at least through 2013, that were on the list for the Office of Inspector General for Medicare and Medicaid services, right? You would go there and they had all these profiles. They were usually about a paragraph, and then a paragraph teaser, then you could click on and get more information. And at least half of the people that were busted between the beginning of the Affordable Care Act and when I ended up leaving the Department of Public Health in San Francisco were either Russian or Ukrainian in origin, and pretty much every case was about somebody defrauding Medicare for, get this, medical devices. So you don't think that somebody would do this thing where they would set up a sidecar account and then take one of those old cases or one of those old reports that busted a Russian or Ukrainian, especially for medical devices? Which, by the way, let me tell you, the world of medical devices is very, very, very interesting. Take one of those old cases, refer it through their friend at the Office of Business Opportunity in one place so that she can set up a special account or a special folder for somebody that came for pro bono consultation around a business idea. And then the next thing you know, we've got whatever ended up happening when they didn't pass S82 and HR 399, because the specific company of concern had a very, very special feature around accessing subsidies from Medicare and Social Security for any joint replacements involving hips and ankles and or any medical devices that were needed in the event that somebody had injured themselves in a specific part of their body, including ankles, which gets to those boot loans, right? So I just need to have it distinguished. Are you trying to get revolving loans from veterans so that you can launder it through your pension scheme? Or are you trying to get boot loans from teenage girls so you can recruit? Like when I got to Houston and they had just opened up a new recruitment center in high schools for the police force. Just get this straight, would you? Because if you're going to keep swapping me out with my former colleague so that you can try to avail yourself of another Supreme Court opinion concerning the constitutional rights of people that want to identify with prostitution as opposed to sex trafficking and the requirements they have to follow the law and bust it for crime, get the right constitutional amendment next time, would you? Because I did.